Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about the truth about instant gratification. We live in an era where rewards are no longer earned, they're delivered. Swipe right, tap once, click here. Food arrives in minutes, validation comes in likes, entertainment is on demand. What once required patience, effort, and time now sits at our fingertips. But what if the very ease we've built into our lives is robbing us of something essential? Instant gratification sells a promise that feels true. If it feels good now, it must be good. That dopamine rush we get from checking our phones, indulging in a craving, or skipping the grind in favor of a shortcut feels satisfying in the moment. It feels like we've achieved something, moved forward, or gained control. But that feeling is an illusion. It's smoke and mirrors, because when the moment fades, and it always does, what remains is emptiness, a hollow echo of achievement, and often a small pang of guilt. The brain is wired to seek pleasure. That's not a flaw, it's biology. It helped our ancestors survive, find food, seek shelter, and reproduce. But in today's world, the system is hijacked. We aren't chasing survival anymore, we're chasing stimulation. And when pleasure becomes too easy to get, it stops serving us. It starts controlling us. Think about how often we reach for our phones when we're bored, stressed, or uncomfortable. We scroll not to learn or connect, but to escape the discomfort of being present. That moment of escape gives us a hit of dopamine, a quick chemical win, but over time, that craving for instant reward rewires our brain. It lowers our threshold for boredom, it raises our need for stimulation, and it kills our ability to focus on long-term goals. This is the illusion of reward. It tells you you're progressing when you're actually standing still. It feels like movement, but it's just motion without direction. It's like running on a treadmill, expecting to reach a destination. You get tired, but you go nowhere. And the worst part, it's addictive. Because the brain remembers the pleasure, not the price. It remembers the buzz, the laugh, the sweetness, but not the hours wasted, the work delayed, the discipline broken. So it keeps coming back for more, feeding on easy hits, while your real goals, those that require consistency, resilience, and time, are left starving. Real reward doesn't come from comfort. It comes from struggle, from resisting what's easy and choosing what's right. But the illusion makes the hard path look boring, slow, and unnecessary. It convinces you that if something doesn't give you a buzz right away, it's not worth your time. That couldn't be further from the truth. Every meaningful thing in life takes time. Learning a new skill, building a business, getting fit, mastering your craft. None of these offer quick rewards. They demand patience, they offer resistance. But the satisfaction they provide is deeper, richer, and more lasting. While the instant rewards vanish like smoke, the earned ones leave a permanent mark. They build confidence, pride, and true fulfillment. And yet, most people are trading long-term greatness for short-term comfort. They're cashing in their future potential for a momentary high. They don't even realize it because the illusion is powerful. It's dressed up in shiny apps, catchy headlines, sugary treats, and lazy choices. And it whispers that doing less is good enough, that convenience is king, that if it feels good now, you've won. But you haven't won. You've only surrendered. You've given away your discipline, your direction, your strength. Because every time you choose the easier path, you weaken the part of you that's built for endurance. You silence the voice that says, keep going, and listen instead to the one that says, relax, it's not that serious. And over time, that voice gets louder. It becomes your guide, your habit, your lifestyle. Discomfort is not your enemy. In fact, it may be the most honest guide you'll ever have. In a world where comfort is glorified and struggle is avoided, we've been conditioned to run from anything that feels hard. But growth doesn't live in ease. It lives in effort. It lives in tension. It lives in the resistance you feel when you're pushing past your limits. Most people misinterpret discomfort. They think it's a sign to stop. a warning that something is wrong. But discomfort isn't danger, it's direction. It tells you exactly where you need to go. It shows you the areas you've neglected, the skills you haven't built, the fears you haven't faced. When you feel discomfort in the gym, it's your muscles growing. When you feel it while speaking in public, it's your confidence forming. When it shows up while you're waking up early to work on your goals, it's your discipline hardening. That sensation you feel, the friction, the sweat, the hesitation, that's where the change begins. Avoiding discomfort is like walking away from the map. It's like having a compass in your hand and choosing to ignore the direction it's pointing. Discomfort reveals the path, not away from your potential, but directly into it. It's the resistance in the weight that builds strength. It's the silence in the early morning that shapes focus. It's the hunger, the fatigue, the doubt that refines your resilience. All these things that people spend their lives trying to avoid are actually the exact ingredients needed to become who they're meant to be. Modern culture has taught us to seek the shortcut, to find the easiest way through. But when you cut out the struggle, you cut out the substance. You might get there faster, but you'll arrive hollow, untested, and unprepared. Discomfort, on the other hand, doesn't just help you reach your destination, it prepares you to stay there. It strengthens your character, sharpens your mind, and toughens your spirit. You don't grow from what feels good. You grow from what challenges you, what pushes you past your edge, what demands more than what you thought you could give. There's a kind of discomfort that shows up when you're about to level up. It's subtle but powerful. It comes with stepping into something new. It could be a job interview, a conversation you've been avoiding, a risk you've been too scared to take, that knot in your stomach, the tension in your chest. That's not a warning. That's your body saying you're about to expand. But most people interpret it the wrong way. They confuse discomfort with a lack of readiness. But the truth is, you're never really ready for the next level. You become ready by moving through discomfort. The act of stepping in is what transforms you. Discomfort teaches you to be present. When you're in it, you can't be anywhere else. It pulls your attention into the now. It demands your focus. And in that space, something powerful happens. You face yourself. You meet the parts of you that aren't polished, that aren't confident, that still doubt. But instead of running, you endure. You breathe, you move forward, and through that process, you begin to change. Every time you choose discomfort over ease, you cast a vote for your future. You show your mind and body that growth matters more than comfort. You prove to yourself that you are not a slave to your impulses, but a master of your direction. And with every small decision to lean into the hard thing, your identity shifts. You no longer see yourself as someone who avoids pain. You begin to see yourself as someone who transforms through it. Pain is part of the process, but pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Discomfort isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. It carves out the edges of your comfort zone and invites you to step beyond them. That step might shake you, it might scare you, but it will always shape you. And then section 2, it might scare you, but it will always. There is a silent strength hidden in the simple act of waiting. In a world that rewards speed, celebrates instant success, and idolizes immediate results, the power of delay has become a lost art. But behind every truly great achievement, behind every disciplined person, every focused mind, every legacy that stands the test of time, there is one trait that always shows up. When you learn to wait, when you train yourself to hold back the desire for a quick reward, you begin to develop control. And control is everything. It is the difference between living reactively and living with intention. When you delay gratification, you're telling your mind, I am in charge, not my cravings, not my urges, not my impulses. That decision builds something inside you that no shortcut ever could. It builds resilience, it builds self-mastery, and it builds a deep sense of purpose. We are conditioned to want everything now: faster food, quicker answers, overnight success. But the truth is, anything that comes instantly is almost always shallow. The kind of joy that lasts, the kind of success that endures, the kind of pride that doesn't fade with time, those things are built in the waiting. They are earned in the spaces between desire and reward. They are carved out in the discipline it takes to keep working, keep showing up, keep grinding long after the novelty wears off. The power of delay lies in what it does to your brain. Neuroscience shows that dopamine, the chemical responsible for pleasure, is not just released when we achieve a goal, but while we pursue it. That means our brains are actually wired to find satisfaction in the chase, in the effort, in the climb. But when we rush to the reward, when we skip the process, we rob ourselves of that deeper experience. We numb the very circuit that makes us feel alive and purposeful. Delaying gratification isn't about denying yourself joy. It's about choosing higher joy over immediate pleasure. It's about recognizing that what feels good now may not serve you later, and what challenges you now may bless you later. The small discomfort you feel when you say not yet is a tiny price to pay for the power you gain from that decision. Because every time you delay gratification, you strengthen the muscle of patience. And patience is more than just waiting. It's the quiet, daily proof that you believe in the future you are building. Look around. The difference between people who succeed and people who don't often comes down to one thing: how well they manage the gap between effort and reward. Some need results right away. They need the likes, the compliments, the recognition, and when they don't get it, they quit. Others are willing to stay in the dark, to keep showing up, to keep pushing without applause, knowing that eventually their work will speak louder than their words ever could. That mindset is what separates average from exceptional. There is something transformative that happens when you embrace the delay. You start to enjoy the process more than the prize. You start to fall in love with discipline. You begin to see yourself not just as someone who wants things, but as someone who earns them. You stop chasing moments and start building momentum. You stop relying on external rewards and start creating internal drive. The power of delay doesn't just shape your results, it shapes your identity. It turns you into someone who can be trusted with greater responsibility, someone who can handle success because you've walked through the discipline that prepared you for it. Success without preparation is fragile, but success built through patience is unshakable. Delayed gratification is not the path of the weak. It is the quiet strategy of the strong. It takes courage to wait. It takes strength to resist. But most importantly, it takes vision to see what lies beyond the now. When you delay gratification, you are not just putting off pleasure, you are stepping into power. Discipline is the foundation of every meaningful achievement. It is the quiet force that shapes your future when no one is watching. It is the inner voice that says, do it anyway, when every part of you wants to quit. In contrast, impulse is the voice of the moment. It's loud, emotional, and reckless. It doesn't care about your goals, your values, or your future. It only cares about satisfying a temporary craving. In the war between discipline and impulse, every choice you make is a vote for the person you're becoming. Impulse is easy. It shows up uninvited. It tempts you with what's fast, what's fun, what's effortless. Impulse tells you to hit snooze, to skip the workout, to delay the project, to give in to anger, to choose comfort over commitment. But what it doesn't tell you is that every time you give in, you're trading control for chaos. You're letting your emotions steer your life. And when emotion runs the show, consistency dies, progress stalls, and self-respect fades. Discipline is hard. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It reminds you of your goals when impulse tells you to forget them. It tells you to keep going when your motivation disappears. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent, about doing what you said you'd do long after the mood in which you made the decision has faded. It's about showing up on the days you don't feel like it, especially on those days, because that's where character is built. There is no greatness without discipline. There is no transformation without self-control. The people who achieve at the highest level in any field, business, sports, art, leadership, they are not controlled by their feelings. They are driven by purpose. Their discipline acts as a filter, separating what's urgent from what's important, what feels good from what is good, what satisfies now from what sustains later. They don't follow every impulse. They evaluate it, they question it, and when necessary, they override it. Impulse promises relief, not results. It's a quick fix for a long-term problem. It numbs instead of solves. It comforts instead of strengthens. It whispers lies like, just once, won't hurt. You've worked hard enough. Or you can do it tomorrow. But those lies compound. They become habits, and habits shape identity. Before long, what was once just a skipped task or a delayed effort becomes your normal. You start lowering your standards, justifying mediocrity, and losing sight of what you are capable of becoming. On the other hand, every disciplined act becomes a building block. When you resist the impulse and do the hard thing anyway, something happens inside you. You feel stronger. You begin to trust yourself. You no longer need external motivation because you've built internal fire. You don't wait for inspiration. You generate it. Your mind becomes sharper. Your focus deepens. You stop chasing intensity and start mastering consistency. That shift is everything. Discipline isn't natural. It's trained. It's built through repetition, through choosing structure over chaos, principle over preference. And the more you choose it, the easier it becomes. Not because the tasks get easier, but because you become stronger. You develop a system, a standard, a mindset that doesn't flinch when things get hard, and the world starts to notice. Because in a society addicted to comfort and noise, a disciplined person stands out like fire in the dark. The greatest battles you'll ever fight won't be against others. They'll be the quiet moments where you face your own impulses, the craving for distraction, the urge to quit, the pull of doubt. Those are the moments that define you. And if you meet them with discipline, you rise. You take back control. You prove to yourself that your future is not dictated by how you feel in the moment, but by the values you've chosen to live by. We live in a world obsessed with results. Everyone wants the end product, the success, the body, the wealth, the recognition, but very few want the process that produces it. The truth is, the result is never as meaningful as the road you travel to reach it. The real reward is not what you get. It's who you become. The process is where the growth lives, where the character is formed, where the strength is forged. When you're chasing a dream, it's tempting to fixate on the outcome. You imagine the day everything finally clicks, the day the world recognizes your work, the day you cross the finish line. But those moments are fleeting. They come and go. What stays with you is everything it took to get there. The early mornings, the late nights, the setbacks, the sacrifices, the internal battles you fought to keep going. That journey becomes your true prize. The process is humbling. It strips away your ego. It exposes your weaknesses and challenges your commitment. It forces you to confront your limits and break through them. But that's exactly why it matters. It is within the process that you discover the truth about yourself. Not just what you're capable of doing, but what you're willing to endure. What you're willing to keep pursuing when the reward seems far away. You can't fake the process. You can fake enthusiasm. You can fake a smile. You can fake confidence for a moment. But the process demands authenticity. It requires real effort, real time, real intention. Every day that you choose to show up, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, you are writing a story that no one can take from you. The story of your evolution, your grind, your resilience. No one sees the full weight of that process, but it's that invisible labor that lays the foundation for visible results. Most people quit not because they're not talented enough, but because they didn't fall in love with the process. They were chasing a fantasy of instant success. When the road got long, they lost patience. They forgot that greatness is built in repetition. It's built in showing up on the days when no one's watching, when nothing is working, when no one is clapping. The process doesn't care about how you feel. It demands discipline. It rewards consistency. It respects effort. There's something sacred in the grind. It forces you to be present. It teaches you to value progress over perfection, effort over outcome. It makes you grateful for the small wins, the unnoticed milestones, the private victories. It shows you that success isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, moment by moment, through countless tiny actions that may seem insignificant, but over time, shape everything. The process teaches patience. It slows you down in a world that's trying to speed you up. It forces you to understand that real value takes time to grow. It teaches you to trust, to endure, to let go of the need for instant validation. And that shift from impatience to trust is where true power begins. Because once you embrace the process, you stop chasing results out of desperation. You start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts them. The people who last are the ones who learn to love the process. They aren't just addicted to the result, they're addicted to growth. They know that each day, each task, each repetition is shaping something bigger than the goal itself. It's shaping identity. The goal might be to run a marathon, but the process is where you become a runner. The goal might be to write a book, but the process is where you become a writer. The goal might be to build a business, but the process is where you become a leader. What's built through the process doesn't fade. It doesn't disappear with a failure or fluctuate with praise. It's yours forever. The skills, the confidence, the self-respect, all of it is earned in the moment you kept going. And over time, you realize that the result was never the point. Every day, we're faced with a choice. Go for what feels good now, or do what leads to something greater later. The temptation to choose short-term pleasure is everywhere. It's in the convenience of skipping a workout, the pull of scrolling endlessly on your phone, the easy comfort of quitting when things get tough. But every time you choose comfort over challenge, distraction over discipline, momentary relief over meaningful effort, you pay a price. And the real cost is not obvious in the moment. It's what you lose over time. You lose momentum. You lose purpose. You lose the chance to build a life that actually means something. Short-term pleasure feels good because it gives you a quick hit of dopamine. It satisfies a craving, numbs discomfort, or distracts you from what truly matters. It's easy. It's seductive. It promises happiness without effort. But that happiness is hollow. It disappears the moment the screen goes dark, the sugar rush fades, or the applause stops. Then you're left with the same emptiness you were trying to avoid, only now you're further from your goals and deeper in frustration. Long-term fulfillment, on the other hand, doesn't shout for your attention. It waits quietly. It's built slowly through choices that are often inconvenient and uncomfortable. It's found in the commitment to something bigger than yourself. It's not about indulging the moment. It's about investing in your future. And that investment isn't glamorous. It looks like early mornings, hard conversations, disciplined routines, and showing up when it's hard. But over time, those investments compound. They give you depth. They give you confidence. They give you peace. Choosing long-term fulfillment requires vision. It requires the ability to see beyond the now. It means training yourself to think beyond the momentary thrill and ask, what will this decision cost me tomorrow? What will it build for me next year? That shift in thinking changes everything. It doesn't make the process easier, but it gives it meaning. You start to realize that temporary discomfort is often the doorway to permanent strength. Pleasure says now, fulfillment says worth it. Pleasure fades quickly, but fulfillment lingers. It fills your days with purpose and your actions with direction. It rewires your mind to crave growth, not just gratification. And while the path to fulfillment is steep, it is also honest. It demands something from you, but it gives you something greater in return. A life that reflects who you truly are, not just what you feel like in the moment. There's a reason so many people feel lost in the middle of lives that look successful from the outside. They've traded meaning for comfort. They've mastered how to look good, but forgotten how to feel good in a way that lasts. Because real joy isn't found in chasing feeling after feeling. It's found in building a foundation that can carry you through any season, any storm, any setback. That foundation is built through discipline, service, consistency, and the courage to say no to what's easy when yes to what's hard will shape you into someone stronger. This isn't about denying yourself happiness. It's about learning what kind of happiness actually matters. There's joy in growth. There's power in discipline. There's beauty in progress. And while those things may not give you the same instant rush, they give you something far more valuable. They give you direction. They give you alignment. They give you a reason to get up in the morning that has nothing to do with how many people like your post or how much comfort you can consume. When you choose long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure, you become the kind of person who lives intentionally. You stop chasing the next hit of validation and start cultivating something deeper. You begin to shape your future with every action you take in the present. You stop settling for what's convenient and start demanding what's meaningful. And that shift doesn't just change your outcomes, it changes your identity. Because fulfillment isn't something you stumble into. It's something you build. Moment by choice, standard by standard. It's a lifestyle rooted in purpose, not impulse. And it's available to anyone brave enough to choose it.